The Laramie Project is a production that was originally written by the Tectonic Theatre Company regarding the death of Matthew Shepard in the 90s.
So in 1998, Matthew Shepard, who's a young gay student at the University of Wyoming, was tied to a fence and left to die.
It's about a town full of hatred and bigotry.
You know, many plays are based around a story and we make a sense of drama, we create a sense of characters. Laramie is actually just basically a true story. You didn't need to create drama because the story was already there.
That's what's interesting about the plays. You can see how this affects different people differently.
That whole issue of hate crimes, as tricky and difficult as that is, it's worth us having a discussion around it and trying to understand what's behind that.
It is risky to delve into it because you have to be ready to be confronted with all sorts of opinions. But it's brave, but worth it.
Yes, well, I'm the principal of Woodleigh School. I was really excited to hear that we were interested in doing the Laramie Project. For me, I guess Woodleigh's never shied away from tackling the tough issues, and this was one of those tough issues that really needed to be thought about and I guess have the ideas ventilated in our community so that we could build some dialogue and some understanding around this stuff that had gone on.
One thing that was quite overwhelming initially was how many students wanted to be a part of this. Because when we put it out there to say we'd like to do it, we were really unsure where it was going to sit, but really were blown away by the amount of students that came forward and said we want to be a part of this.
And we knew that if we only had 8 people, we still had permission to stage it with 8.
Yeah, so ultimately we're now working with up to 35, 40 students.
So I play Reggie Flutie, who is a police officer who went and responded to the call and found Matthew Shepard tied to the fence.
My character is Catherine Connolly. She works at the University of Wyoming as a professor. I play Romaine Patterson, and she's a lesbian that lives in Wyoming and was friends with Matthew Shepard.
I play 3 characters now in the Laramie Project, which is actually a really interesting dynamic to play because one of my characters, you know, was a friend with Matthew and the other one was a friend of the guy who kills Matthew, so it's kind of like an interesting psychology you jump between.
Well, in our production we've got the skills of working together, learning how to empathise, not with each other in that process, but with the characters that they play as well, telling stories from the perspective of someone that you don't agree with, but learning what it feels like to go there and learning about the different perspectives on things that happen.
Seeing kids on stage as well saying the stuff that like adults were saying back then, it's so confronting to see the younger generation say that. The audience knows it's on stage, but like these things were said, and I think it just emphasises how wrong it was.
When I'm doing the interrogation scene with Sam, it's a really interesting one because he's such a powerful character. So that's definitely difficult to play. You've kind of got to get into a really concentrated mindset because you kind of have to go to a dark place.
It's really scary seeing how deep some people go into their characters. Like, Sam is terrifying.
Don't put that in there.
Put that in. Sam, you are so scary. But yeah, he gets into it so much.
Because it's very confronting to get up on stage, you know, and to do a character that is so raw. I mean, to do that, for example, that police officer, the challenges for younger people is that addressing those experiences which they may have not gone through. But it's actually also going to be really powerful when you actually see someone who's older, who is a father, who actually get connected to the thought of losing a child.
Letting kids do this play, just for us being 14 to 18 years old, I feel like they always dumb it down to us because, you know, you can't handle this, you're too young. But we can also change other people's minds because we're actually the generation that's going to make the difference.
But because we're putting on something that's so heavy and so important, we've sort of realised that we all need to stick together within that and have the light moments backstage sort of thing, which is important in any aspect of life.
I think I like the way it's always relevant, and while this was set 20 years ago, it could have happened last week, it could unfortunately happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, it can be played in that same way.
It was an opportunity for us to consider our own values and our own prejudices and to make the connection between what was going on in Laramie to what's going on here.
Well, I think you can definitely apply it into any society, especially somewhere like Australia where we still don't have marriage equality. We're still the other. We're not allowed to be like everyone else. We're different, but not even by choice.
You know, when your own government doesn't even have the means to make something equal, then you're sort of setting future generations up for discrimination. You know, that's where you look for guidance, I guess.
You know, we have Chechnya where they actually are killing people, and the Prime Minister has declared that by the 20th of May he wants every gay person eradicated. We look at France at the moment. They potentially will be electing in Marine Le Pen, who's far right. She wants to repeal gay marriage. You know, and in Australia we have, for the first time, probably the furthest right-wing government we've ever had in history. I mean, this play is quite confronting. So it's not like The Crucible where almost every school does The Crucible. I think these sort of stories are far more important now than ever before.
Because even though it's written about Laramie, it's not just about Laramie. It's kind of about us as societies and
It's
us
about
as people.
communities and it's about people.
And Matthew Shepard was murdered not really by two men, although he was, but in a sense, it was a community that kind of played a role in all of that.
Theatre companies find it so important to include every however many years. It will continue to go on like that, and I think we need to keep speaking about it. Yeah, I feel it's a very important work to have in our catalogue. I like that we look after this. I think it's important.
It's important.
Well, I think it's really important for Woodleigh to take some courageous and adventurous steps into our performing arts program, because we've got a long history of taking on challenging projects.
Most schools or most places in general, they would be like, oh, we shouldn't put this on because people might not agree with what they're saying, and then not as many people will come, and then it's just going to be bad for us. We don't value whether we sell out or whatever. We have sold out, and other places might not take that chance, but we took the chance because it's such an important topic to us.
I'd like to see other schools with the courage to perform the Laramie Project. I'm not surprised that Woodleigh has the courage, but it'd be good to see other schools doing it.
And I think it's critical that schools are brave enough, it's not even brave, but open enough to actually recognise sexuality and to be looking at these issues. It saddens me when people close the door and pretend that stuff isn't happening, or don't look at gender and don't actually let students journey in what they need to journey in.
I think students look for that opportunity to be able to deal with something like that. I think they struggle with their parents sort of push it away and go, oh, it's an adult thing, don't talk about it. And if it's just a matter of, let's see a play which seems somewhat removed, like a little lovely night at the theatre, it might bring up some important conversations to have with parents. I think if parents are open to that.
I guess the message that I want people to take from it is that your opinion matters. Whether you agree with something or not, no matter your opinion, you should always voice it. Because once you start talking, that's when discussion happens. And that's what this play is all about. It's trying to demonstrate the different views of this town, the values of the town. You should be allowed to believe whatever you want to believe, but as long as you're open about it.
And I hope that people come away feeling something, needing to know that doesn't happen again, not ever wanting their children to be in that position, not ever wanting to put anyone into that position.
And being motivated to change, being motivated to say, actually, I will stand up for this, or when that person says that or behaves in this way.
The Laramie Project is a really good opportunity for us to just reflect a little bit on what is it that we hold. Do we tolerate or do we accept? Because tolerance does not include love, but acceptance includes love.